Blessings. Today is the fourth Sunday of Pentecost. The gospel for this day is from Mark, the fourth chapter. Jesus said, "The kingdom of God is as if someone would scatter seed on the ground and would sleep and rise night and day. And the seed would sprout and grow. He does not know how. The earth produces of itself first a stalk, then the head, and then the full grain in the head. But when the grain is ripe, at once he goes in with his sickle because the harvest has come." He also said, "What can we compare the kingdom of God, or what parable will we use for it? It is like a mustard seed, which when sown upon the ground is the smallest of all the seeds on the earth. Yet when it is sown, it grows up and becomes the greatest of all shrubs and puts forth large branches, so that the birds of the air can make nests in its shade." With many such parables he spoke the word to them as they were able to hear it. He did not speak to them except in parables, but he explained everything in private to his disciples. When I began my ministry, and early days of my ministry, especially some of the campus groups I was with, people would talk about converting people to Christ. And pastors would come and talk about the people they've converted to Christ. And I always thought, wow, that was an amazing thing. And I've come to know that none of us converts anybody. And that whole idea that we convert somebody to Christ, or nowadays it's also, we change someone's opinions on politics. There's a lot of energy goes in our relationships to changing opinions of what people might think about one politician or another, one party or another. And we never do that. So it's really a major waste of time to try to change somebody's mind or religion. What we do and what we try to accomplish, oftentimes people miss altogether. But it's other unintentional things that people pick up on. Little things. I've preached a number of sermons where my point is one thing, but some offhand comment I make in the midst of it is what people remember. And something that I don't even intend, or people hear something that I didn't even say, because they were hearing what they were in their prayers. They came to God listening for something, and God somehow spoke something to them despite what I had to say. I'm always kind of surprised by that. And even when I hear a sermon, sometimes it sparks something in my mind, an offhand comment that leads me someplace far away from what was actually meant, but is what I needed to hear. I noticed my father used to always try to convince all his children to agree with him politically. I think it almost made everybody go the other direction. I know I've tried to inspire the faith into all my children, but what they picked up on oftentimes is other things in my life, whether it be the love of art and the ability to create, or to be involved with the school system and the community, engage with politics in the community, and to participate on civic duty. These things my children have picked up on. That wasn't what I was intending, though. Oftentimes what we share with people unintentionally, something that was important to us or something that brought us pleasure, that's what people see. There is a idea that somehow we list things in our resume of what we've accomplished. And I actually think it's probably more interesting to hear the things from other people, what they have learned from us. If someone is, listing a resume, these are the things I think I've accomplished. But I think it's far more interesting to hear from others. And we'd probably be very surprised what they've picked up on. The little seeds that we offer, things that might happen. It could be a greeting that somebody gave somebody, being nice to someone, holding the door, just noticing someone, remembering somebody's name. Sometimes these little things are what's the most profound. And Jesus talks about the mustard seed. Things that are small oftentimes become the big things in relationships when people get ready to get married, I often say, little things that you might not think is a big thing now, in 20 years, it might be the little acorn might be a big oak tree. So pay attention to the little things in our life. And Jesus in the parable starts out with, the man plants the seeds, but God's the one that does the growth. God is the one that somehow touches our heart. Any conversion, any change that we might make in our opinions or perspective or religion usually comes from within, deep within. And oftentimes it's sparked by something God might open us up or nudge us. And in that nudge, I respond. And it's usually in a quiet time or a safe place. And in those places, it's at that point where I might reflect on what people have said and done, who has inspired me because of their actions. But oftentimes it's just an aha. Just an aha. And in this, I need to rethink sometimes, especially as we move into a major political season, not to so much want to espouse my opinions, which I like to do a lot of times, but rather just share and listen and hear what people are saying, reflect on that, and not realize that I'm not going to change anybody, but I might learn something from others. And what I may say and do will not change anybody, but by somehow finding a common ground or looking at something smaller or different in our lives than the political issue of the breaking news item, might in fact lead to a spark in a relationship that might deepen it in a different way. By avoiding the desire to convert and change, I might see what the seed is being planted by God, oftentimes a mustard seed in my life or someone else's, and be able to comment on that and say, wow, I see what's happening in your life, and that's really exciting. We're bringing back out the United Thank offering boxes to give thanks for other people and what they've done in our life, to look and, instead of convert, give thanks. Appreciate the other person instead of trying to change. Because I think in that we really, I'm changed more because I'm no longer trying to change somebody else, and it allows me to be transformed myself. And maybe in that somebody's changed, but that's God's work, not mine. God is at work in our life in a mighty way. God's preparing and doing something. Let us get out of the way and somehow just allow God to touch us again, that we might somehow take that light of Christ that touches us and be like the prism. It somehow opens up the light in a new way, not to change, but simply to love, to give thanks, to appreciate, to be surprised. Blessings for you and all those whom you love.